Hey guys, and welcome back to the show. So in my last video I said that in the next part we were going to take a look at input types. So for example, we have the name, surname, age, password. Two of these fields are very specific. So for example, the name field, Joe, and the surname field, Soap, aren't they too special? They're just free text, visible fields with a maximum characters, but beyond that, nothing really. Now, age and password, on the other hand, are quite different. We don't want the user to be typing in invalid characters into age. It's got to be a number. And with password, we want them to type in anything, but we don't want someone looking over their shoulder to see what they're typing. So in this example, if I type something to password, you see it replaces each character with this little star. You've seen this online, filling in your password into Facebook or your favorite places to go. But there's actually a real value behind this being stored in it, but it's just displaying it as these stars. And then in age, I can try type in things. You see I'm typing. It's not doing anything because I'm not typing in any numbers. As soon as I type in a number, boom, it allows me to type. I can backspace that, but I can't type anything other than two actual numerics. So if you like what you see here, sit back and relax. We're going to be going into this. It's not going to be a very long video today, which you might enjoy. Just a nice, quick and easy one. Now, before we begin, please make sure that you have subscribed to this channel and hit that bell notification icon. Also check out my Patreon. You can get this video a day or so before everyone else. Project files will always be attached to that Patreon post. And if you do hit that bell notification, you will get notified when I upload these straight to your phone or whatever device you have enabled. So without further ado, let's jump into the code. Now we're starting where we left off last time. I think the last thing we did was tab ordering. We were able to dynamically render the fields, and then we could push tab to cycle between them without even using the mouse, which was really cool. Now to start things off, I think we should look at the private side of these fields. And what we can do to make the text unreadable when someone types it in. So I want us to add a property because remember we get this little struct over here. We can add all kinds of things. We can add a boolean over here, true, false. Actually, name is going to be false. And we can paste this on all of these. Password we're going to set to true. Now, because the instance object text box knows if it's private or not, we can go into that object, text box, and we can go into the draw event. So this is where it's actually going to draw content to the screen. The blink char, that can stay. But here in the draw text, see what this does is it draws the plain text plus the blink character. We want to add something in between here. Let's call it draw text. And draw text is going to say, well, am I private? I'm going to put a little ternary over here. And if I'm private, let's do string repeat. Let's repeat the star character. And we'll repeat the star character for as long as there is text in the string. So if we had 5 characters typed, we'll get 5 stars. So it's kind of a smoke and mirrors, really. Otherwise, if we're not private, we're just going to have text. Simple as that. Then we can take draw text and we can replace it with text. So this line will act as the middleman. It'll either spit out stars or it'll just spit out itself, which is what it used to be. So there would be no change. Okay, cool. Let's fire this up and see what happens. Okay. So we want to see if password is going to show stars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there we go. As many characters as we type, it'll just show stars. And it still follows all the other rules of how many characters we can type, the max width, make sure we don't go over the end of the sprite. Everything else is the same. Very good. Let's go into the phase 2. We want to make sure that we can't put in letters into this age field. So similarly to how we went into the form and gave it a private property, we can add a type. So we can say this type is text. We can say name is also text. We can say password is text. And then for age, we can say age is number type. And now that we have a number type, we can go back to the text box and we can say in our any key or our keyboard pressed any, here is the bit where we say you either can or can't type something. So you can't type if the input's not selected. You also can't type if we've hit the maximum and we're not trying to backspace. So in that case, it says, no, get out of here. So next up, we want to expand on this to say, well, you can't type if you're max and you're not doing backspace. But the not type here, we're going to extend to say like, or some sort of function to say whatever you're typing isn't a number if this field is a number field. So let's see, has that been wrapped? That wraps that guy. We've got an or over here. Let's put it over there. Or, and what do we want to or on? We want to or on not something like string is number, right? And into that we want to pass the keyboard last character. But we also want to say type is number and whatever we typed isn't a number, and then we'll put this keyboard backspace right at the end, because we should always be able to type if we have a backspace. So if we've hit the maximum string length, or the type is number and what we're typing is not a number, so string is number is not that, of the last keyboard character, and none of this is backspace, then we just get out of here. Okay, so string is number doesn't exist. But I did some research on the internet, and I found that Yellow Afterlife did a really cool article on checking whether a string is a valid number. He goes into a lot of detail on the different ways you can do that. We're not entirely interested in all of them, but I do highly recommend you go check out his page at yls.cc. All kinds of really cool GameMaker stuff over there. Now, the one that we're interested in is an unsigned integer. So if the user types in AB45, it's just going to spit out 45. In our case, we're going to be calling this function every time they type a character. So we won't necessarily get this. If they do type in something that isn't a number, it's just going to do nothing, spit out a blank string. So let's grab this guy. And I think this was written before the new function syntax was in. So we just need to make sure that when we create our script over here, let's say script, let's call it functions, that when we put it in here, let's grab this, put it over there. We're going to take in an argument of s, put s there. Also always paste from where it came. That gives us this function, and we're going to be calling it string is uint, just like that. Save it up. Now we can grab string is uint. We can go back to our text box. We can go back to the string is number, paste it in there. And again, what we're saying is if we're at the max characters and we're not pushing backspace, then just get out of here. Or if we're a number type and we're not inputting a string as our last character and we're not pressing backspace, exit out of here. Now if I save this and run it, it shouldn't allow me to input anything other than unsigned integers. So let's go in. Name hasn't changed, surname hasn't changed, password is still hidden. And now I'm going to try to type anything but a number. Doesn't work, check that out. But if I put in 78, boom, I get 78. Now I am, as you can hear, at maximum. I'm trying to put in another 7. I'm at maximum, it won't let me put in another 7, but I should be able to still backspace. There you go. To do a different number, 89, 90, 99. See that? And this is actually one step above sort of form validation, because it's always nicer if you can guide the user as opposed to always showing hard error messages. So this actually simplifies some of our validation along the way, because we know the only state that the user could put in that would be technically invalid is if they leave it empty, or if they put 00, I imagine. But those are things that we can factor into the actual validation messages. So if we want to get a good picture, Joe, soap, age 67, there's his really long password. And tab ordering should still work. So now that we've got tab ordering out of the way, the dynamic form generation, and these input field types, the next video we're going to be going into actual validation, which I'm really looking forward to. So I hope you found this video educational and helpful. Please feel free to comment, rate, and subscribe. Check out my Patreon. I really do appreciate your support. All the patrons on there. You too can become a sponsor of this channel for as little as $1 a month. A link to the project files are in the description. Don't forget to hit the bell notification to get notified of when new videos are uploaded. And until next time, happy coding, and I'll see you then.